Coach, opening statement on your signing class today.
Well, excited about this class. Right now we have 9 nationally ranked players, 2 and 3-star guys. I think to be able to get some of the all-state and local guys that are nationally ranked as well, to stay here and kind of continue with the brand and protect the basin is huge.
Okay, guys, questions?
Coach, big signing class this year. What would you say? Can you pipe down a number at all? Because they said they continue to go.
We're not done yet. We anticipate to be around 45. I'm going to say right now we're probably around 40.
Big class though. Any reason specifically for that at all?
Yeah, I think the leadership of Dr. Woodley and Scott Farmer. There's a different energy level. Actually having broke ground and seeing construction take place on the Kirk Edwards Human Performance Complex is a huge selling point. And that stuff's out there in social media, and kids can see it, and they can kind of see the vision and the excitement out here. And I think a lot of that starts with Dr. Woodley.
Okay. Hashtag protect the basin. You guys have had a lot of kids sign that are from around here. How big is that for UTPB?
It's huge. We know every kid wants to go play Division I, and when guys get that opportunity, and a lot of guys sign, back in December and today to go play Division I. And after that, we want to be the destination for all the local talent. And I think we landed some big ones today. I'm going to say 4 of them being all-state, if I'm not wrong, maybe 5. And I think it's a huge win, not just for football, but for the university to become more of a place that every student surrounding here wants to go. I think we're providing some credibility for just the regular student body to come be a part of something different here at UT Permian Basin.
Can you break down, Coach, how you guys went about recruiting this year in terms of, I know every coach had an area, Minio maybe had Houston, Tyler might have had here, whatever it may be, but kind of how you guys attacked the recruiting the whole state?
Didn't do a whole lot different than what we've done in the past. We invested more in Houston as far as our amount of time down there and the resources down there. But besides that, each coach has their area. Once we identify the guys in an area, from there we kind of start getting a little bit more position-specific stuff. So what we're trying to do is kind of hit the recruits with 2, 3, 4 coaches, just kind of show the importance of them and the value they have, throughout the coaching staff. So it's not just one person recruiting them. And then again, here locally, we try to get as many guys up around these schools as possible.
What do you guys look for in recruits? Like, are there specific things that you want them to hit?
Well, one of the first questions that we always ask, kind of once we get past the academic part of it, can they get into school? But the first question I always ask is, what other sport do they play? And I think that's something that it's gaining some traction, being a multi-sport athlete, in the media a little bit, but it's important. It's important to not just be a football player. For every skill kid, I want to know, do they run track? And from there, we can go look up track times. You get a little bit more verified, ability on them than just a coach saying, yeah, he runs a 4.5. Or you look and see he runs a 10.6 in the 100 meter. That provides a lot more credibility to that kid's speed. If they play basketball during the season or during this recruiting season, we can go watch them play basketball. And I think playing other sports is vital to developing a well-rounded athlete.
I see you took importance maybe at the running back position, signing 3 guys that we all know from the area, Kobe Robinson, Ed Williams, and Josh Traylor. That's a lethal backfield if you ask any high school fan out here. How excited are you to be able to get all 3 guys into your backfield on offense?
I think it's huge. And kind of going back to, there's a ton of running backs and quarterbacks in this class. And in the state of Texas, everybody's going to put emphasis in the backfield, put your best athletes back there. I think those guys are a testament to that. But those guys can also play other positions. So as you start looking at our sign-in sheet, that there's some quarterbacks in there that are going to move to other positions. There's some running backs in there that are going to move to some other positions. Those 3 guys are very dynamic out of the backfield. I don't see them moving. We're excited to have them and keep them here close to home, and where a lot of local fans know them and come support them.
Was that big though this year, knowing that, hey, you can put a name to a face that played maybe at Permian or Lee or wherever it may be?
I think it's big every year. I think one thing this year is that there was just a more en masse of guys as we got close to signing day that were high quality football players that we were able to get into our program. And I think that's huge. It's getting no more important this year than it was any other year. There was just more of them, and we're fired up to get them here.
How cool is it to see them like already kind of forming this brotherhood on Twitter and other social media platforms?
I think Tyler Wright's probably done a good job. I know as guys were starting to kind of commit a little bit, a group chat kind of got going. And I think that stuff's important because it gives the ones from far away something to grab a hold of and connect to. And again, for me, I'm not that good in social media. I know how to hit the like and the retweet. But to get the, what's that?
And the GIF.
And the GIF, I'm getting better at that one. I'm learning some stuff every day. But I think as those guys can get into the group chat stuff and again kind of start connecting with other people from across the state and even cross state boundaries, that's important. As they start to bond, I think it's going to help keep that class together longer and help the success of this program in the years to come.
Can you highlight some guys that you're just really fired up that you guys got?
Well, I think if you start locally, Dawson Reynolds being a 3-star national recruit and the personality that he brings. He's a guy that I think everybody can identify with, especially out here in the Permian Basin. He came over here this morning rocking a mullet and a suit. And the personality that he has is just a fun-loving guy who plays very nasty. And I can't wait to see him put on orange and black. Go beyond that, Ed and Rakib out of Permian, Josh Traylor, Romeo Martinez from Midland League, the local guys, all of them are just phenomenal football players. From there, Caleb Forrest, slot receiver out of Hutto, a guy we've been recruiting since the summertime, just put up astronomical numbers. Was an all-state guy. Caleb Leak, Raymond Montez, Michael Black, 3 quarterbacks that each one of them just performed off the charts. Offensively, some of the pieces that we got in, I think are going to be game changers as we get down the road.
A guy like that came from Mark. I saw a kid from there having a championship background, knowing you come from a championship program. Is that big when you bring a kid in?
Yeah, I think you always want to look at guys that come from winning programs. For one, they played more football as you get into the playoff picture. They got more games under their belt, more experience. And again, there's a little bit more demand on them. Sometimes those guys understand what it takes to win at a high level. And you're also talking about a guy in the state championship game that scored 7 touchdowns in one game. Not bad. Always love getting that kind of stuff in our program.
Let me ask you this, Coach. You kept on saying throughout the season, hey, one of the main things that's holding this program back is scholarship money. Were you able to get that for this recruiting class, or are we still trying to garner that for recruiting classes in the future?
We're getting there. We're still not fully funded. So we attacked this recruiting class going from 24 to 33. And that was a conversation between Scott Farmer and myself and kind of getting his blessing. That I don't know if that money's there yet, but we're going to hit hard and recruit hard and say that we're going to be at 33 next fall. And that was a huge help. I think that shows in the number of guys that we signed, the quality of guys that we signed, that we were able to get out there and compete a little bit more on a level playing field just in scholarships. And I think that'll show up on the field next fall.
How much did you guys approach in terms of trying to fill out your positions? How much did you kind of go for, we want to look for, this many at this position, this many at that, and just balance that with the approach of, listen, we're just going to try to get the best players we can. We might end up with 6 running backs, but we'll figure it all out, and, they might move around. How did you kind of balance that?
Well, we definitely want to get at least one at every position and then kind of go from there. Some of those guys we evaluate and we have the conversations with them that your skill set, you might play a different position as you grow and get bigger. There's a tight end in here, Jason Pogue, big 6'5", 250-pound kid out of Mount Pleasant, Texas, an extremely gifted individual that you sit down with him for 5 seconds and you go, in like one biscuit, you're going to be 275. Once you get into college, you're going to be an offensive tackle if you'll buy into that. And I think that's a lot of it. As you kind of look at it, and I think we got 3 or 4 tight ends in this group, some of those guys are going to grow into being something else. And it goes across the board. The number one thing we want to look for, guys that have great ability, athleticism, flexibility, that they can bend and move and change direction, really no matter what position that they're at. Some of them have the ability to play elsewhere. Some of them you can look at them and go, you're an offensive line, you're not going to go to quarterback. But after that, we want to get great athletes in here and then kind of piece them in where they can help, win a championship.
What was your message to some of the kids, especially, I know some of the local kids that you recruited that, they might have had offers elsewhere and specifically some preferred walk-on offers at some Division I schools. What was your message to them, your pitch to them to kind of buy into that, stay at a smaller school and, get a chance to play?
Well, I don't know if there was really a pitch or any kind of tagline. It's just developing relationships, and I think the staff has done a great job of doing that. And I think once you build the relationships with the student athletes, the sales pitch thing kind of goes out the window, and there just becomes credibility in a person, and they can see the value of what it is that we're doing here, again, beyond football as a university. And some of the local guys, I think that excitement resonates, and again, it starts from Dr. Woodley, and I think it shows as you go around this town. I think there's a different buzz to this university, but at the end of the day, it's just building the relationships with the athletes and kind of letting it all fall where it may, and I think in our favor, a lot of those guys chose to come here.
How did you end up finding out about Hunter Hickok out of Juneau, Alaska?
It was a junior college offensive lineman, and he was playing in California. Watched some film and go, man, this guy is kicking some butt. We got to find out more, and it just kind of started from there. And the backstory on him, some of it I didn't know until about 3 weeks ago. Him sharing a story with me about being the all-time leading receiver in a game in the state of Alaska, and now he's an offensive lineman. I think that kind of stuff's pretty cool, but I think that's something that, again, kind of goes back to what we look for. We want great athletes, no matter what position they play. That guy grew into an offensive lineman. He kicks butt, and I can't wait to see him on the field next year on Saturdays.
Coach, you have a big senior class this next year that's going to be departing. Is that the reason why you took so many guys this year, just because majority of them are just going to redshirt, and then you'll be able to kind of refill and retool a lot of those positions?
Yeah, I think just the time of it, we probably got lucky a little bit of having Dr. Woodley in place and Scott Farmer in place and saying we're going to invest some more money, scholarship money. We're going to get you up to 33. I think that helps, and then the other side of it is us being able to look at our roster and go, this guy's going to be gone in December and gone in December. And a lot of these guys are all graduating. Some of them have already graduated, and they're starting their graduate degree. But yeah, I think that plays into it, but I think there's more to do with just getting the facility built and more scholarship money.
Do you think the process of recruiting has gotten any easier for you and the staff now that the program has more established roots now as it enters year 4 than it was perhaps year 2, trying to get guys to come to a university that didn't have a football program when they started high school?
The numbers would say yes. I don't know if it's gotten easier. Recruiting is recruiting, and it's a grind. But numbers would say that we were more successful this year, and I would attribute it to being a little bit more established as a program. But again, the energy and the excitement, actually having a facility under construction. We're not selling a dream anymore. This time a year ago, we didn't know when we were ever going to break ground on that. And that kind of stuff, weighs on some kids. Now they can see it. We can have a date that, hey, a year from now, we're going to be close to walking in that facility. I think that stuff definitely helps.
Simply put, is this the best recruiting class you guys brought in for next year?
Yeah, it's not even close.
Really?
I would say this recruiting class rivals any of them that I've been a part of in the past 15 years now. I think there's 9 guys on here that are nationally ranked. That's something that across the board in the Lone Star Conference, I would challenge. It's going to be up there with any other program.
So is this a team that is this a recruiting class where a lot of these guys may not take a redshirt and actually play next year, starting with you guys?
Well, one thing we talk about in recruiting, I'm never going to guarantee that you're going to be the starting whatever here. We always say we'll guarantee the opportunity to compete. I do think there's a lot of guys in this class that are going to come in with the ability to compete. How quickly they can pick up the playbook, offense, defense, special teams, and play at their ability and speed is the part that's yet to be seen. But there's a lot of guys that have the size and ability to come in and compete, get on the field right away.
How excited are you to get on the field with this group?
I'm excited to get on the field this spring with the guys that we already have. I think this recruiting class is awesome. I look forward to the fall. I think before that, I don't want to get the cart ahead of the horse. I look forward to this spring. A lot of guys from last year's class that we redshirted. I can't wait to see what those guys look like. Matt Greshel was a big sign from last year's class out of Greenwood High School. I can't wait to see what he looks like this spring and getting more reps in the offensive line. I'm probably more excited about that and getting going for spring ball. Again, that comes first.
When does spring ball start?
I wish I knew the date off the top of my head. I probably should have known that before I got up here.
March, April?
It'll be March, or I think it's the last week of February, though. I just don't want to lie to you on date. I'd like to hate you like he was gonna know. February, I don't know why. 1, 2, 3, 4, March 5th will be our first day on the field,
Oh.
I think.
Week before spring ball.
Spring break. Yeah, March 5th.
How big was it for you to have, you have several pairs of, groups of teammates coming in. How helpful was that with the recruiting process? I see 4 kids from Dallas Kimball, a couple kids from, Beaumont United, and then Lee Permian.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to just having the connection. When you're a young man, 18 years old, 17 years old, and you go off on a college visit, and you don't know anybody. It might get a little bit scary if you've got a teammate currently that you're with, coming with you. I think that helps. There's not any great intent in that. It's just a matter of identifying prospects and getting guys out here, and just happened to be some of them. There was more than one at the school that were interested, and worked out well for us.
I asked Coach Hartman and Coach Ellison this morning when they had their signing, how big is it to have a guy like Tyler Wright who coached these high school players and knew a lot of these guys to be able to get them here? Do you feel like he had an impact getting these 5 local kids, or really 6 with Kobe Robinson coming in as well?
Yeah, I don't think there's any hiding the fact that him being at Permian for 3 years definitely helped. There's already an established relationship that as a staff we're not having to go in the door and try to build. I think that provides some credibility to our program for those kids, that there's somebody in that they already know and trust. I think that definitely helps.
You touched on it kind of a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more elaborate on what it means to have Scott Farmer and President Woodley? I mean, 2 big football fans, obviously Scott plenty of D1 experience, Woodley coming from Auburn, a football graduate place, to help you guys move toward the next step of getting this program up to Lone Star Conference power level.
Well, I think not whether they're fans of football or not. They're fans of the university, obviously Scott, the athletic department, understanding that athletics can serve as a front porch to a university. There's not much more exposure that's going to take place than through an athletic department. Pick any sport, doesn't matter. Obviously football and basketball are the 2 biggest ones across the country. And I think it's just understanding the value that the athletics can bring to a university, just as far as exposure goes. I think that helps a ton.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.